Hi, my name is Dr. Mary Ann Shepard, and I want to welcome you back to our series this month on goal setting with individuals with autism or severe and profound intellectual disabilities. This is the seventh and the last video in our series this month, and we're talking about some additional resources for assessment and goal setting with individuals, how to make your goals objective and measurable when they don't align with those Common Core standards or your state standards. So two materials and resources that we haven't necessarily addressed this month yet are the ABLLS, and also another one that I wanted to highlight is the Denver Early Model, or the Early Start Denver Model for young children with autism. And so the first one we're going to talk about here is the ABLLS. When you purchase the ABLLS, you purchase a booklet for each student. And so you can see the booklet. This is our example booklet, but on the front it gives the dates of the assessment, their age, and who assessed them. And so you have a booklet for each student that goes along with them for the years, okay? And so just like you might purchase a textbook for a student, you would purchase the ABLLS book for a student. And the ABLLS is your assessment of basic language and learning skills for children. And so within the book, we have tabs on common things that we often like to look at or to assess, some of our common ones. Just going to our first tab here, on our first page, you can see along the top, you've got your table. So what's the task, the score, the task name, the task objective, the question, examples, and criteria. Now you would assess this during your measurement or your assessment, but then you would go back based on your assessment and you would use these objectives to create your objectives and your goals that go on your IEP. So this one here is one of our favorites. The student will comply with the instructions to do a non-preferred activity when the activity is presently occurring. A question is, will the student follow an instruction to do a non-preferred activity such as wash your hands before lunch? Or after using the toilet, the student will follow the directions to wash hands. That's an example. So those are some of your task objectives, and you would go through here and you would know which things were relevant for your student or for particular kids at different times. And so here's the next one. The student will be able to walk across the room to go to a specified place or person and deliver an item. So give the pen to Jen. That's one of the objectives that are in here. So can the student walk across the room, follow that one-step task? So the ABLLS is also an excellent resource to use. Also in here are example lists, and so it talks about appendices or examples. And so some of those you're like, well, I don't know how I would create those goals or objectives. It gives example lists here in the back. So maybe when you're talking about associations and it talks about referring to association lists or appendix number 1, it gives different examples of things that you can accomplish or accommodate, accompany. That's the word that I'm looking at, accompany that specific goal or objective that you're looking at. So, you know, when you're looking at colors, receptive and expressive, or shapes, receptive and expressive, prepositions, you know, receptive and labeling. And so when you're talking about being able to put things on, under, around, about, among different things, how can you look into those specific things? So that's the ABLLS. You can look for additional training resources and additional materials on their website. Another one that I want you to be aware of, which also might involve some additional training, is the Early Start Denver Model for young children with autism. So this is the book that accompanies that, but within that they have goals and objectives and assessment tools that you can utilize. And so I'm going to go to their appendix here just to show you some specific things. But maybe you're working on receptive communication and you need some goals. Localizes to sounds by turning towards the sound source. So if you activate a toy, do they turn and look at the toy? So that would be a basic thing that you would be looking at maybe with a severe and profound child. It imitates 8 to 10 one-step actions with objects. So like do this, if you have like a frog and you're hopping the frog, do this. If you want them to fly a plane, like zoom, zoom, zoom. If you want them to smell a flower or drink from a cup. So those are all imitation things. So 8 to 10 imitations that maybe they would be able to do. And so matches or sorts identical objects, so matching things together. That's all in your Denver Early Start Manual. And so it's a specific training very similar to your BB Map or your ABLLS. It's just a different model from a different developer. But all of these are excellent resources to look at how can you make your instructional objectives and goals more measurable? How can you make them more relevant? And how can you look at what some of those behavioral cusps are that maybe a child will need? So where do you even start? So I hope you found some of these materials helpful and resourceful as you are looking at developing your IEP goals for the upcoming year. Thank you so much for watching the series this month. You can find more resources on our webpage at www.everydaybehaviors.com. You can also like us on Facebook for additional resources and materials for our upcoming series at Everyday Behaviors with Dr. Mary Ann. And of course, please follow us on YouTube. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.